Imagine a land of shimmering deserts and a mighty river. This was ancient Egypt. The Nile River breathed life into the land. It brought water to the thirsty desert. This great river allowed a magnificent civilization to bloom. For over 3,000 years, ancient Egypt thrived. It was a place of wonder and innovation. At the heart of this grand civilization was the Pharaoh. Pharaohs were more than just kings. They were considered to be gods who walked among men. They were the living embodiment of Horus, the falcon god. The people of Egypt believed that their Pharaoh was chosen by the gods. He was destined to rule with wisdom and justice. The Pharaoh's word was law, and his power was absolute. The ancient Egyptians believed in a cosmic order, a balance known as Ma'at. Ma'at was the force that held everything together. It was the Pharaoh's sacred duty to uphold Ma'at. They were the guardians of harmony, ensuring peace and prosperity for their people. Life in ancient Egypt revolved around the divine power of the Pharaoh. The Pharaoh was the ultimate power in ancient Egypt. He controlled all aspects of life and death. As the high priest of every temple, the Pharaoh performed sacred rituals. He offered prayers to the gods, ensuring the well-being of Egypt. He was responsible for maintaining the cycle of the Nile floods. These floods were essential for agriculture and the prosperity of the kingdom. But the Pharaoh's role extended beyond the spiritual realm. He was also the head of the army, leading his troops into battle. He was the supreme judge, dispensing justice and upholding the law. As the supreme ruler, the Pharaoh enacted laws, collected taxes, and oversaw trade. The Pharaoh's divine right to rule was absolute. It was passed down through hereditary lines. Usually the throne went from father to son. However, there were a few exceptional women who ruled as pharaohs. These female pharaohs challenged traditional gender roles. They proved that women too could hold the highest power in the land. The life of a pharaoh was a delicate balance between earthly duties and divine rituals. Each day began with a sacred ritual of purification. The pharaoh would bathe in water infused with natron and perfumes. This cleansed his body and spirit, preparing him for the day ahead. After the purification, the pharaoh would make offerings to the gods. He would then attend to matters of state. The pharaoh's palace was not just a home, it was a center of power. Constructed with massive columns, towering walls, and sprawling courtyards, it reflected the pharaoh's authority. Inside, intricately painted walls depicted scenes of Egyptian life and mythology, showcasing the rich culture over which the pharaoh presided. Throughout the day, the pharaoh held court, receiving advisors, officials, and foreign dignitaries. He listened to their reports, deliberated on important issues, and made decisions that shaped the kingdom's destiny. He dictated decrees, resolved disputes, and ensured the smooth functioning of the government. As the day progressed, the pharaoh would often partake in leisure activities. He might indulge in hunting expeditions, go sailing on the Nile, or enjoy musical performances and dance recitals in his court. The pharaoh's attire was not merely clothing, it was a symbol of their divine status and power. Each piece was carefully crafted and imbued with symbolic meaning. The pharaoh's wardrobe was a dazzling array of colors, textures, and precious materials, reflecting their elevated position above ordinary mortals. One of the most distinctive elements of a pharaoh's attire was the Nemes headdress. This striped headcloth, often made of linen, covered the head and fell down onto the shoulders. The Nemes represented the pharaoh's power and authority, and it was frequently adorned with the uraeus, a stylized cobra, symbolizing the pharaoh's ability to strike down his enemies. In addition to the Nemes, pharaohs wore elaborate collars, bracelets, and rings, all crafted from gold, silver, and precious stones. These pieces were not merely decorative, they held amuletic significance, believed to protect the pharaoh from harm and bring good fortune. Among the most iconic pieces of jewelry was the pectoral, a large ornate ornament worn on the chest. Pectorals often featured images of gods and goddesses, further emphasizing the pharaoh's divine connection. Section 5. Eternal monuments, pyramids, temples, and the pharaoh's legacy. The pharaohs of ancient Egypt left behind a legacy etched in stone. Towering pyramids and magnificent temples stand as testaments to their power and ambition. These monumental structures were not merely tombs or places of worship, they were powerful symbols of the pharaoh's authority and their connection to the gods. The construction of pyramids, the eternal resting places of the pharaohs, was a massive undertaking. Thousands of laborers toiled for years, cutting, hauling, and shaping massive blocks of stone. The precision and ingenuity involved in their construction continue to amaze us today. Inside these colossal structures, the pharaohs were laid to rest in elaborate burial chambers, surrounded by treasures and provisions for the afterlife. Temples, dedicated to the gods, were another significant aspect of the pharaoh's architectural endeavors. These grand structures, with their towering columns, hypostyle halls, and sacred sanctuaries, served as centers of religious worship and pilgrimage. They were lavishly decorated with intricate carvings and colorful paintings, depicting scenes from Egyptian mythology and the pharaoh's achievements. Section 6. Faces of Power, Ramses II, Tutankhamun, Cleopatra and their stories. Among the long line of pharaohs who ruled ancient Egypt, some names have echoed through time. Ramses II, Tutankhamun and Cleopatra are not just names etched in stone. They are figures whose stories continue to captivate us. Ramses II, often referred to as Ramses the Great, was a warrior pharaoh who ruled for over 6 decades. His reign marked a period of great prosperity and expansion for Egypt. Ramses II's military campaigns extended Egypt's reach into Nubia and Canaan, and he is credited with building some of Egypt's most impressive monuments, including the temple complex at Abu Simbel. Tutankhamun, on the other hand, is famous not for his deeds in life, but for the discovery of his tomb in 1922. Tutankhamun ascended the throne at a young age and died under mysterious circumstances. His tomb, remarkably well preserved, offered an unprecedented glimpse into the burial rituals and treasures of a pharaoh. Cleopatra VII, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, was a shrewd diplomat and a skilled strategist. She formed alliances with powerful Roman leaders, including Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, to maintain Egypt's independence. Her story, a tale of love, power and tragedy, has been told and retold for centuries. Section 7. The Setting Sun. Challenges to Pharaoh's rule and the fall of a civilization. The reign of the pharaohs, though long and illustrious, was not without its challenges. Internal strife, external threats, and changing times all played a role in the eventual decline of ancient Egyptian civilization. Political unrest, power struggles, and rebellions within Egypt's borders posed constant challenges to the pharaoh's authority. Maintaining control over a vast kingdom with diverse populations and competing interests required a firm hand and a keen political mind. External threats, in the form of invasions by neighboring empires, also threatened Egypt's stability. The Hyksos, the Assyrians, the Persians, and eventually the Romans all launched attacks on Egypt, weakening its power and influence. The final blow to ancient Egyptian civilization came with the Roman conquest in 30 BC. Cleopatra VII's death marked the end of the pharaoh's reign. Egypt became a province of the Roman Empire, its once mighty civilization absorbed into a new world order. Section 8. Unraveling the Past, the Enduring Allure of Ancient Egypt. Despite its decline, ancient Egypt never truly faded away. Its legacy lived on in the ruins of its monuments, the whispers of its legends, and the tantalizing clues it left behind. And then a rediscovery, a reawakening of the past that continues to this day. The discovery of ancient Egyptian tombs, filled with treasures and hieroglyphics, sparked a wave of fascination in the 19th century. Egyptomania, as it was called, swept through Europe and America, influencing art, architecture, literature, and popular culture. Today, the allure of ancient Egypt remains as strong as ever. Tourists from around the globe flock to see the pyramids, temples, and artifacts that have captured our imaginations for centuries. We are drawn to the mystery, the beauty, and the enduring legacy of this ancient civilization. Section 9. Conclusion. Echoes of pharaohs in the sands of time. The pharaohs of ancient Egypt were more than just rulers. They were living gods, the embodiment of divine power and authority. Their reign, spanning over 3 millennia, left an indelible mark on the world. Their monuments, their stories, and their culture continue to fascinate and inspire us today. As we gaze upon